Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ty, and this is Ty's Table Talk. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the latest episodes of the reality shows we all love to watch. Now, my thoughts are my thoughts, and the reviews I share are from my perspective. But I can guarantee that at least a few of us are thinking the same things while we're watching these shows. Now, I am back with a whole new review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 19, Reunion Part 2. And I just want to remind you all to please like, share, and subscribe. If you dig this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way to support this channel and its growth. With that said, y'all, pull up a seat, join me at the table, and let's get into this review. So, as I said when we left off after part 1 of this reunion, Phaedra does not need to do anything to secure her spot on this show, Angela. I'm sure glad that Phaedra was able to reiterate this to Angela when she said, I have a guaranteed contract. What am I trying to secure? And I was like, tell him, Faye, go ahead and let the girls know. Angela then tries to make a point by bringing up the past situation with Phaedra, Portia, and Candy, and says she's shocked Portia was so willing to believe Phaedra was telling the truth about not setting Angela up at Kelly's event. Portia came back and was like, the whole Junebug story sounded fake and phony, and it sure enough did. And listen, if anybody believes this whole Junebug story, this Mr. Marcus dude is pushing, after everything that has come out in the blog with him retracting his statement, blaming Phaedra, then I have a bucket of snake oil to tell you, okay? Because clearly, you will fall for anything. Now, Angela claims Junebug was a false name given by this Marcus dude to protect this Kim person, his sister. Angela is dead set on believing Phaedra sent this Mr. Marcus dude to air out Charles because apparently Marcus went to school with Phaedra's brother and sister. And Phaedra says, I don't know everybody by my family knows. I don't know everybody that my brother and my sister knows. Then Angela tries to say, well, he's friends with your brother on Facebook. Child, listen, I have hundreds of Facebook friends, and about a good 75% of them I have never, ever met in person, okay? People send me friend requests all of the time, and if they're friends of friends, then okay, maybe I'll go ahead and accept the request. Now, I also promote this YouTube channel on Facebook, so I say, okay, one more Facebook friend could eventually become one more YouTube subscriber. My older brother and I have mutual Facebook friends that I have never, ever met. And so what? I mean, this is the world we live in with social media today. Being friends with someone on social media does not mean you know them. So Angela then says to Phaedra, you said you know my husband, Charles. And Phaedra says, I have met him and hung out with him before, like 10 plus years ago. And Angela says, you don't know my husband. Here, I feel it boils down to semantics, because Phaedra said she met Charles before. She met him and they probably did share space while they were out and about. And that doesn't equate to knowing somebody. So you can meet someone several times and that doesn't mean you know them. At this point, Angela is just reaching to me. So then Angela says, Phaedra, you lie on me all the time. And Phaedra was like, I've never lied on you because I never knew about you. I believe it because y'all remember when Phaedra initially reappeared on this show when Portia dropped by her house and she told Portia she has some tea that Charles is married. And Portia was like, yeah, that's not tea. He's married to Angela. So yes, I believe Phaedra knew nothing about Angela. Angela then tries to make several digs talking about how all Phaedra's faves know Angela, but Phaedra isn't in those rooms, apparently. Girl, please, Angela, just stop. Just stop, because at this point, it's giving Val does protest way too damn much. Phaedra was like, look, I'm done with all of this tomfoolery, so let me just go ahead and call my brother. So she uses Phaedra's phone to call her brother, Jacques. And Jacques answers and says he's never heard of this Kim person. He's friends with 1 million people on Facebook. And her being his Facebook friend doesn't mean anything. So that was that, and Jock hung up. Bravo Andy asked Drew if she believes Phaedra is guilty. And I'm saying that, like, Phaedra is on trial here, okay? Is she on trial? Because that's what it feels like to me. It's giving trial. Drew B. Lyon says, well, I mean, the guy acted like he was afraid to say Phaedra's name, but Phaedra's hands reach very, very far. Drew, ugh, you are exhausting. You are exhausting. So then Andy asks Cynthia if she thinks Phaedra did it. And Cynthia gives a very diplomatic answer and says, well, I don't believe Angela did this herself because if she did, that would be the biggest housewife scandal to date. Basically, it also doesn't make sense to her that it would have been Phaedra either. So Angela says, Phaedra gave me all of Marcus's information, his name, where he works. And Phaedra says, well, yeah, because he introduced himself, Angela. Then at this point, Andy decides to move on because he doesn't believe this is going to be solved. So Angela says there's a lot to air out, but she believes she can still move forward with the group. So they move on to Kelly comparing Angela's situation with Charles to her situation with Mark at the Bailey Q. Then we get a flashback scene of Kelly making a dissertation at the Bailey Q, telling Angela she recognizes a lot of what's going on in Angela's marriage and her own marriage with Mark. And she hopes Angela's marriage doesn't end the same way her marriage did. Angela says that whole thing with Kelly threw her off. Kelly claims she doesn't remember saying any of that, but if she did, she apologizes. So they move on, and I was glad. I was glad because at this point, who really cares? Andy reads a comment from a viewer speaking on Angela's age. The viewer said Angela was a beautiful woman, but she does not believe Angela is 43. Child, you and the entire world. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I don't know if the nose or her voice does it, but when I heard a blogger on YouTube saying Angela was 43 a few weeks back, I was like, 43 when? Like back in 1990? Back in 1993? Y'all, everything about Angela gives older, but Angela busts out her receipts with her original birth certificate, y'all. The original. It even had her little baby footprints on the back. So we see Angela's birth date, and the birth certificate shows she was born in 1981. Child, I can't believe I am older than Angela. That's crazy. So this does indeed prove that Angela is 43 years old. And it also proves that Angela has always had big feet. She's got big feet, y'all. Did y'all see the size of her footprints? They almost took up the entire back end of that birth certificate. This leads them to Faye Faye's comment about Angela looking like the oldest young woman she's ever seen. And Angela says, girl, looking at your throwback photos, you looked old as hell when you first started on this show. So if I look 53, you look 63. This little remark didn't seem to faze Phaedra at all. And look, y'all, looking at every woman sitting up on this reunion stage, it's so easy to tell that all of them have had some kind of work done. Now, the makeup has changed a lot. I mean, it's changed dramatically since Phaedra first appeared on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And yes, there is some truth to what Angela is saying here. But I mean, remove the concealer and the highlight and contour, and damn near everybody up on this stage will look at least 5 years older than what they look like right now. Okay, that's just the truth. Again, these are the times we live in, and it just is what it is. So speaking of having some work done, they touch on when Shamia talked about Angela's nose job, saying it was a nose from the 90s, aka LaToya Jackson nose. This was when Angela said Shamia looked like Flavor Flav. Shamia admits she was being shady, but then Andy asks, what year exactly is that nose from? And Angela says 2017. Charles got it for me. I said, not Charles got it from me. Lord, y'all. Y'all, maybe it was the way that she casually said that, but it was like, I cannot. Andy then read another question from a viewer asking Angela if her hotness, aka hot flashes, were due to her being in perimenopause. Now, y'all remember on the show, Angela denied that she was going through menopause. But here on this stage, she admits that she believes she is perimenopausal. To which all the other ladies reply, "Oh, girl, ain't nothing wrong with that. Hell, we're all going to go through that at some point." And Cynthia says it's not an age thing because women can go into perimenopause as early as 36 years old. Now, I can attest to that. I am 45 and have been in perimenopause since I was 40. Maybe even earlier than that because I was going through the hot flashes and the night sweats a couple of years prior to that, even. But at 40 is when my doctor actually took labs to check my hormone levels, and the results combined with my symptoms, the hot flashes, night sweats, abnormal cycles, all of that led to my perimenopause diagnosis. But baby, Angela says I had my fan on the show, and now I have my own line of fans coming out. So y'all check out Fangy, Angela's new handheld portable fan line, brought to you by perimenopause. Hey, that's how you turn lemons into lemonade, honey. I'm not mad at it. Another viewer asked Angela why her daughter, Amari, didn't tell Angela that she was getting married. Remember, y'all, Angela found out that Amari was married after her mother, the Margaret, revealed it to her 4 months later. There was speculation that Angela wasn't told because Amari's partner is a woman, but Amari is bisexual. And Angela says she was well aware of Amari's sexual preferences and that that had nothing to do with her not wanting Amari to get married. It had everything to do with Amari's age. She was 23 at the time, and Angela just felt Amari was too young, and I certainly get that. She probably just wanted Amari to be young, live her life, and experience all that it has to offer at 23 and not be worried about the woes that can come with marriage. Andy asked if Angela was close with Amari, and Angela says, "I love my daughter." So loving your daughter and having a close-knit relationship with her are two different things. So to me, Angela didn't really answer that question. They then touch on Angela's rental properties. Angela says she was losing money on them, so when several of the properties went into foreclosure, she decided to let them go. They were costing her over $100,000 a month to hold on to, and on top of that, she had lost her mother, and it was very overwhelming. Angela reveals her mother's loss was very sudden, and it feels unfair that her mother isn't here. Her mother wanted to share her experience battling her bipolar diagnosis and how she overcame it, and I felt for Angela here. It's hard watching a parent fight so hard to overcome something, and then suddenly they're gone. So I can most definitely relate. Another viewer asked Angela if she felt Drew had her back the way she had Drew's back, to which Angela says she does not. And I'd say that would be an accurate assessment. It really is. Drew is out for self, honey. She's all about getting involved in the bullshit until things get real. Then Drew was like Beyonce was in that elevator with Solange and Jigga, okay? She backs up, she gets real quiet, and prays nobody notices that she's there. She claimed she wanted to show up for Angela the way Angela needed her to, but couldn't because of what she was dealing with in this divorce from Wreck-It Ralph. So then Shamia asked Drew why it's okay for her not to be there for Angela, given her excuse, but why she and the ladies then chose to pick apart her friendship with Portia and say it was lopsided. Again, y'all, there was a lot of deflection and no real answer here. So they touch on Shamia still having animosity when it comes to Phaedra and what she said to Portia in 2017 about the allegations that Shamia was sleeping with other people's husbands. And Shamia spoke with both Portia and Phaedra about it, and everything seemed cool. However, Shamia was still bringing it up in interviews and was taking digs at Phaedra as if she still feels away. And Shamia says she moved past it, but Angela was like, you're the one who brought it up at the Pampered by Portia event. Shamia says she dumbed things down. Basically, she tried to act like everything was all good. And Cynthia was like, that's the problem, Shamia. It's okay to be hurt, but you have to state that. You can't say you're good, then do these little passive aggressive things like take digs in interviews. It's sending mixed messages. And y'all, that's something about Shamia that started to turn me off this season. I noticed she does a lot of little passive aggressive things. She doesn't come right out and say how she feels, but then she'll go and talk to, people in her friend group or people other than the person that she has an issue with. She airs out her grievances to everybody else. And then when it comes back to the person she actually has the issue with, then she wants to, kind of sugarcoat things and act like it wasn't all that. And I don't respect that. If you have an issue with a person, you need to be direct with that person and say what your issue is, and just stop with all of the going to other people, because that does nothing but cause trouble, big, big trouble. After this, they move on, and Andy reads a statement from Kenya saying she was sad not to be at the reunion, but that she takes full accountability for her actions at her hair spa event. And she apologizes to Britt, the cast, crew, and the viewers. Then Andy read a statement from Britt saying that she wasn't going to be at the reunion, but that the photos displayed at Kenya's event were not of her. Shamia and Kelly said after Kenya's event, they all went out and Britt seemed fine. But then she came back on the show appearing to be devastated. So they were confused. When Britt was on Watch What Happens Live, she said she felt Kenya was coming for her all season long. But the rest of the cast didn't feel that way. And you know what? I personally felt that when Kenya made the little comment at Shamia's birthday party about Britt's ring, I feel like she was being very catty, very shady, but I didn't see that Kenya was coming for Britt continuously. They had some little moments where it seemed like they were getting along. I remember during the event when everybody was dressed up like a Barbie doll, she was like, oh, I think that was at the Balmain event, Kelly's event. And she was calling Britt a little Barbie doll. And, it seemed cute, but I just feel like Britt really took to heart that initial meeting with Kenya and the little dig, and, just kind of exploded from there. So Cynthia caught flack from the viewers about not extending grace to Kenya, but extending grace to Britt. And Cynthia says she had no problem with Kenya responding to Britt about the pistol threats, but she did not agree with how Kenya responded. And she was not going to compromise her integrity in this matter. So she's not on Kenya's side. She's not on Britt's side. She's on the side of right. And both of these ladies were in the wrong, period. Portia says she agreed with how Kenya felt after being threatened with the pistol. Kenya was a loose cannon. And Portia knew Kenya got pictures and information about Britt. So she was trying to help with how Kenya was going to put that information out there on the show. However, what went down, Portia did not expect. Okay. Portia also says that she got information that Drew is the person who gave Kenya the information about Britt. Now, Drew said she was told Kenya got the information from a private investigator. Drew never actually denied sending Kenya any information. The way these ladies avoid directly answering a simple question, it really pisses me off. It does. It really does. Now, Cynthia says that the hair spa event was the last time she's spoken with Kenya, and it's sad because Kenya stopped taking Cynthia's calls. And I think that's very unfortunate because Cynthia was a ride or die for Kenya. And for Kenya to just dispose of their friendship like that, it's crazy to me. A friend should be able to tell you the truth and you not take it as, your friend attacking you. That's what friends do. They check each other and it should be taken that way. But Kenya was in her feelings and I guess she still is. So they move on to Shamia, who addressed what Britt said about her faking her reaction in Grenada to her baby Shiloh being sick. Shamia got emotional and started crying. And she says she does not play about her babies. And Britt said what she said because she was jealous about she and Kelly's developing friendship. Today, Shiloh was doing great. And she recently had surgery to have tubes placed in her ears because she kept getting ear infections. Shamia has a new surrogate because the transfer with her surrogate Asha that we saw on the show did not take. After receiving her peach, the people got to see Shamia shine on the show, and Shamia says the best stars shine in the background. Now, after this, she complimented Drew on her singing and acting talents, which led to them addressing the shade Shamia threw at Drew about her song, I Got Five on It, Love Languages. She said she did that because Drew called her a lapdog, but she never shaded Drew's ability to sing, like Drew did with her at her event, at her showcase. Now, Drew may not have struggled to hit a note, but she struggled to put on a showcase. Then they talked about how Drew be lying about everything. For example, that Judith Lieber bag that was shaped like a cosmopolitan glass. It was cute, y'all. That bag was hella cute. And they're saying that that bag was not a Judith Lieber bag. That Judith Lieber bag is a $6,000 bag. And Shamia believes that it was instead a knockoff from a company called Akira or Ahira for $130. So Shamia pulls out what she thought was a receipt, which was the knockoff bag. Now, since part 2 aired, Taste of Reality posted that Judith Lieber posted an actual receipt of the bag that Drew purchased from them and confirmed its authenticity. You know, I swear these ladies on this show are petty as hell. Worried about a damn handbag. Child, please. Real or fake? Real or fake? Portia wanted that handbag from Shamia. And Shamia says, well, listen, we'll have to see how the rest of this reunion plays out first. I don't know if she's going to get this bag. I don't know if she deserves this bag from me. The little $130 bag that I'm sure Portia can purchase 100 of if she wanted to. Moving on. Portia says she felt Britt was being malicious when she told her that Shamia had shown Britt and Kelly her private text messages because Britt felt like she was being pushed out of their little alliance. However, Portia says the text messages were indeed hers, so what Britt was saying was true. Kelly was writing hard for Shamia this reunion, y'all, saying she never saw these text messages from Shamia and she was present the night in question. Shamia says she had already said that she talked about this when she was asked if she and Portia celebrated when she got her peach. Shamia says she told the ladies no, they didn't celebrate because Portia was going through some things. However, Drew says Shamia told she and Angela that Portia did not celebrate her. Portia said that's a lie and pulls out her receipts. Portia said she sent Shamia flowers and sent her a beautiful text congratulating her. And Portia pulls out her phone and shows us video of all of this. Then they go into the accusations that Portia wasn't at Shamia's wedding. Portia then shows the video of the Atlanta ceremony in which Portia not only attended, but was a bridesmaid. Shamia said that was not a wedding, that was a dowry ceremony. Now, I don't know the specifics of it all with the Kenyan culture and the African culture, but basically, I got that Portia was there at whatever ceremony happened in Atlanta, but she didn't attend the ceremony in Kenya. They talk about the current status of their friendship today, and well, there is none. Portia says Shamia has been lying in interviews about her congratulating her on getting being cast on the show as a full cast member. All up on Candy's show, and Portia felt Shamia came on the show and used the fans to sabotage her. She said it was a scheme and a plan set up by Todd to come back with the BS. It was a scheme and a plan, y'all. They talked about Portia not going to the wedding in Kenya because of a medical issue and because they weren't really speaking at the time. Portia said two things can be true. She had a medical diagnosis that would not allow her to fly that long to Kenya at that time, and she and Shamia weren't speaking. The fans thought Portia was a shitty friend for not going to the wedding in Kenya, but since they'd moved on and gotten past that, and the friendship was good, but now, between Shamia forming an alliance with Britt and Kelly that Portia was not a part of, And the interviews, she felt Shamil was trying to sabotage her. So, y'all, we get a glimpse of the continued back and forth between these two that we'll see on part 3 of the reunion. And I will save that little tidbit for my part 3 review. But y'all, that is the end of this review. And I want to apologize to all of you for getting this out so late. I have been dealing with some personal matters, and I just did not have an opportunity to work on the review last week. But I truly appreciate y'all for sticking with me. If you've made it this far in the review and still haven't given this video a thumbs up, please go ahead and hit that like button for me. It will truly help this channel's growth. And y'all, I have been struggling to get this channel to grow. I'm kind of playing around with the kind of content I want to continue to post. I will continue to post some show reviews, but I'm also kind of going to be moving into giving you all glimpses of my life, doing some clothing hauls and some vacation videos and some story times. So be on the lookout for that. Also, make sure you comment and let me know what you thought of this part 2 of this reunion. Thank you all so much for watching. Part 3 will be out shortly. And until next time, y'all, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't forget to tell someone you love them today. And most importantly, make sure you are loving up on yourselves. Love y'all. Peace.